World Eaters release, the sort of relationship that Games Workshop and other big companies have with your friendly local gaming store, and then a bunch about Pokemon cards, of all things.
Woo!
I'm Dalton.
I'm Locky.
I'm Greg.
And this is the Risky Rollers podcast. G'day. Thank you for joining me today. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a few different bits and pieces to talk about. But first of all, who is Greg and what's he doing on our couch?
Yeah, he's coming in. What is he doing?
Hi, I'm Greg. You may have seen me play some Warhammer with these gentlemen before, being highly and totally disrespected on the battlefield thoroughly by people who are meant to be my friends.
Well,
but
mine was tactical, and his was just because he rolled sixes.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't seen.
It's coming out next. So coming out next week, we played a Horus Heresy game.
Yeah.
And the start of it is interesting.
I'm confident.
It was quite rude, I think.
Confident he cheats. 100%.
Yeah.
Confident. I'm not sure how, but magnets under that dice box thing. But anyhow.
Yeah. So watch out for that one next week. White Scars and Sons of Horus. It was pretty good.
Yep,
It
yep.
was.
And now, of course, you do something else for the community as well, rather than just coming on and bumming out in the channel.
Apparently, yeah, getting my butt whooped. No, I'm the manager of General Games in Malvern. General Games is a company that has 3 stores in Victoria right now. We've got one in Frankston, one in Malvern, and one in Churnside Park Shopping Center. That's our newest
Malvern's
one.
the best one.
Yeah, Malvern.
Malvern is the best by far.
Sorry, guys. Look, we sell all the stuff that you'd be after. We sell like the board games, puzzles, war games, card games, and that's all that stuff. Magic the Gathering, Pokemon.
Yep. Lucky I've been spending a lot of money on cards in there recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yu-Gi-Oh! One Piece is big right now. Flesh and Blood. When it comes to the war games, we do all of Games Workshop's range. I would reckon that we actually carry more than most Games Workshop stores do.
I'd say you do, because I mean, especially with a lot of the new releases, leagues in particular. I've been looking for a lot of those recently, and they're nowhere stocks them, nowhere holds them.
It's crazy.
But every time I message you, you're like, "Yeah, I've got that," or "I'm getting one in next week."
Yeah,
so it's always been good to come down and pick it up.
That was something that Em noticed, that my wife noticed when we came in, and she was like, "They have a lot of Games Workshop. Like, it's just increased. It's good, man. It's really good." So if you're in Melbourne, you're in. Even if you're in Melbourne. You're in Australia.
If you're in Australia, check out the website.
I mean, and shout out our website too. Like, we don't have all of our wargaming stuff up on our website because it's there's such limited numbers
so
and stuff
fast
like that.
as well.
Yeah, but I mean, if you need anything else, board games, or lots of different card games and stuff like that, generalgames.com.au.
It's the first link in the description down below.
Yeah.
Nice.
So check that one out.
Check that out. But yeah.
Cool.
No, it's sick as. So thanks for coming on.
That's all right.
And of course, General Games Australia are a sponsor of the channel, so thank you very much for that. And I think you were a point of contact for organising all of that too.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet.
Of course.
Yeah, cool, yeah.
Of course.
So thank you for that one. And our big thanks to our other sponsors as well, Miniature Scenery for all of your MDF scenery and miniature needs, and Dice Arcade. If you're up in Sydney needing a local hobby store, check them out as well.
Yes. Big ups, Tim.
Thanks,
Absolute
Tim.
legend. Thank you very much.
The other thing that Dice Arcade do for us as well is host of all of our event tickets.
Yes.
We have a bunch of events happening this year.
We do.
So if we can get that one up, Lawrence, we have our full event calendar happening. Maybe coming up on screen, maybe not. We almost had it. There we go. So this event calendar covers, there are a few more events coming into that one. One of the ones that we can actually announce, that we can announce the date for, is we are hosting the Victoria Masters event later in the year.
Yep.
Doing some preliminary dating for that in the next few months. That'll be out to you as soon as we can. And our first Kill Team event is happening with dates just been shifted from that one, but it's happening on the...
You'll be keen on this.
Yeah.
Kill Team event happening on the 12th of March, which is the second Sunday of the month, the week after ARC.
Yep.
Which we're also involved with, which will be pretty cool.
Yes.
It's going to be a busy month for us in March because we're also running our first GT as part of the Risky Rollers Championship Series.
It's bonkers,
There's so much happening. Check out our Discord. Everything's happening down there.
Yep.
So much big stuff going on.
Or all our socials, if you guys want to get in contact us
it's all happening all over the socials
with any
as
of
well.
these kinds of things. Facebook and Instagram are the best ways to get in direct contact.
Or you can email us directly. You've got
email.
admin@riskyrollers.tv for both our attention, or if you want to get in touch with me about tournaments specifically, Dalton@riskyrollers.tv.
Awesome.
Place to do that.
Yep.
So, before we get into all of our main topics and things, I do like to start this off by asking everyone, what have you been working on hobby-wise?
Am I starting?
Yeah, Lucky. What have you been doing?
I've been doing World Eaters stuff.
All right. Well, sorry. Production is saying they've queued up a different picture.
No.
So I'm going to.
What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Well, I've been conscripting a conscripting forced labor from our club.
Oh, yeah,
And we've been painting up boarding action terrain.
Our sweatshop.
Come down to the Extra Club, people. You play Warhammer games and join a sweatshop. It's good times.
We have one of those we have to do for our store too. Yeah. I'll have a hobby day in mind soon, so we can get that done. Yeah.
Well, this is one of the 2 sets that Locky stole from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy.
I know, it was totally unintentional.
So we've got 2 sets of body action terrain, and I'm like, well, I can't paint all this up on my own. So I conscripted a couple of fantastic people, Carl in the Discord and Jezebel in the Discord as well, helped out
Carl.
with getting all of that painted.
Yeah.
So you guys will be seeing it at the Kill Team tournament and at on the channel for some Zone Mortalis Heresy action.
Oh yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
I'm keen for that.
I'm really excited for that. That's
Yeah,
gonna
me
be
too.
dope.
Yeah.
So Locky,
Yeah.
which should be
So-
up. Is that what's up next, or is this?
No.
No,
Looks like it's me
different
next.
order happening.
That's all right.
All right. So Greg, what have you been working on recently?
So you guys can't tell, I've been playing a lot of Heresy lately. I play White Scars, but I've got a little side force of Night Lords. So you'll see up there is one of my Terra Squad guys. He's that's the back of him there and the front there. Pretty stoked. Just get to do this cool like metallic scheme.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's come out pretty well. Yeah,
Getting that nice sort of metallic color, but nice and smooth is just
keeping it
on
dark
point.
is
It's good.
a tough gig too. But yeah, it's come out.
What do you mean? You just like double or triple wash it. And then you're fine.
Yeah, I should probably do that. Yeah.
But yeah, even so, like the whole scheme of what you want to do with all your Night Lords is pretty, from a gameplay point. We're gonna get to that stuff later, but it's tasty, man. Yeah, Night Lords are gonna be tasty.
I'm stoked. Yeah,
Heresy.
I think they're really good.
Yeah.
And White Scars, for that matter, are absolutely gorgeous. So check out our game coming out next week, White Scars and
I mean,
Tons of
if I ever
Horrors.
get to keep them on the table for any sort of amount of time,
We'll get to see them more.
Well, there already is a game between you and I.
There is, yeah.
World Eaters and White Scars with your White Scars on, and they do look amazing.
It is pretty cool. It's a narrative. It's the narratively right before our game, which is coming out next week. Which
they have not defended a single foot, a meter
They're
of
terrible.
the,
That
on the way
line
to
just
Terra.
keeps moving.
They are terrible defenders of Terra. This is not what they're supposed to be doing.
Get out of the way. Yeah.
But check that out. But more specifically, check out the B-roll we did for them. Because even you're complaining when we were filming it that you hadn't quite finished some of the paint jobs or weren't quite happy with them. They still look amazing.
Thank you.
So make sure to check all of those out.
Yep.
And
then I've just been punching all the World Eater stuff. So not only building. Oh, that's a very blurry photo. I told you Facebook compression would ruin it. So I've been painting 8-bound. Our Angron's currently been painted by Jaden over at Dark Gods 3D. So you're going to see some stuff of that coming out soon. That's not this Angron, it's a different one. And then just building up more Heresy stuff. So the way I'm doing my 40k World Eaters is essentially having it swap over. So the 30k stuff using as the 40k stuff as well.
Yeah.
It's
really sick. A lot of conversions like ride that line really nicely, and they just move into each one.
Biggest fan of all the like chaosy stuff, if you know what I mean.
All the trim, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, painting these there's so much Truman Gold to paint, and I've got Hell Drakes and stuff to do, and I'm like, I just don't.
Hell Drakes are good fun.
I don't want to do it.
I've repainted the same Helldrake like 3 times in different colors.
I'm jealous of what you did though, because I as soon as I saw those berserkers, like the Heresy community was giving them like their blessing. They're like, oh, they're wearing Mark IV, they're totally good for Heresy. And I was like, sick. Like I'm gonna do my Chaos Heresy army will be World Eaters, and I'll use all that stuff, and I'll have all this. And then like I went and realized that like I'd want to do them like white and red to have the trainer.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what my White Scars are.
The crazy,
like same army with different models, and it's like I don't want
It's
to.
also better on the table too.
Yeah, exactly.
So the other thing that you'll see probably in a bat rep in a couple of weeks is actually berserkers that I got a hold of, which is the AOS.
Yeah, the Age of Sigma Khorne Bloodbound
or
Blood Warriors,
whatever.
Blood
But they're all got bolt pistols and backpacks.
Yeah,
and
they're mad.
It's super cool. Yeah. So I've only got 10, but that's gonna probably be the squad of 10 that I ever run. So
it's cool. Squad of 8, surely.
Yeah. No, you got to do 10.
You got to do 8. You got to do
10. You got to have that contingency.
We'll come back to it, but they need special rules if you run 8 of them.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Continuing the World Eaters love, I want to shine a little bit of a hobby spotlight on some of our Discord members, some of the cool stuff that's been going on down in there. Our Discord, link down below, loads of great hobby and things going on in there, including a wonderful Angron that we've been constantly updated with work in progress pics by Gyro. And it just looks fantastic. The coppery metallics I'm a big fan of. And it's done a really good job on all the layering on the skin too.
The oxidization on that.
Yeah.
That looks really cool. Like can you go back on, Lawrence?
Stop showing me this stuff.
The oxidization inside the axe and stuff is really cool. So.
And then you can look at like all the silver metallics. He's done a lot of the armor and plating, especially in the second picture. If Lawrence brings it back up, sorry, man. Down on the legs, you can really see it. He's got this really nice like burnished steel look, and it just looks so good. Yeah, that's so well done, Gyro, with that one. And then our other one for hobby stuff in the Discord was a Fafnir Ran for Imperial Fists, painted by Oblerone, who is all the way over in Europe somewhere, I believe.
He's in Sweden.
Sweden, there we go. So all the way from Sweden, a Fafnir Ran here, which is absolutely gorgeous yellow-orange shades.
Yeah.
I'm real jealous about
like
the yellow
demon,
one.
Right? Like everyone's just like, don't paint yellow.
It's getting easier. There's better ways to do it. But he has nailed it.
Yeah,
it's such
beautiful model, but it's just giving me nightmares right now. And that game, that guy gives me absolute nightmares.
You rave on. I know we don't want because we're gonna get into the heresy stuff. You rave about Imperial Fist. I've played 2 games with Imperial Fist and just demolished them.
Shout out Cam, you cheater! You could have picked another Legion, but you didn't. I know why you did it. I'll never forget. I'll never forgive you.
People don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so thank you to Gyro and to Oblerone. All of your stuff is amazing. And everyone else in the Discord posting all the hobby picks. It is always awesome to get on there, see and be amongst it.
Yeah, 100%.
So with that out of the way, let's move on into our main topic for the day. So for our main one, or for news and events, I guess, for that one. First thing that I want to call out, because it's local to us, it's big news for everyone in the Victorian and Australian scene more generally. We're excited about it. So the Team Victoria for the Australian New Zealand Team Championships this year has been announced, the lineup for that one. And headlining, or as in one of the players.
Headlining for captain instead of Dean Simek.
So one of the players for that one is our very own Lawrence Gutierrez.
Let's go, Lawrence.
Come on over here.
Come around, buddy.
Come and wave. Come and wave, buddy.
Yeah, so get on over here.
Put in all the
fix
all
your
the
hair.
hard work.
Come on, buddy.
Come over here.
You gotta
come over here.
Here. Congratulations, Lawrence.
Thank you, guys. So honored, but I'm so pressured.
No,
you'll be all right, buddy.
You're surrounded by a really strong group of guys, especially from the leadership group. Like,
that's right.
Jez and
Dean and Jez are doing a fantastic job getting it all lined
Reese
up.
as well, like the guys that have been there a few times. So and Adam as well, Adam Camilleri. So you've got some really experienced guys there that'll
apparently they've played Warhammer a few times.
Just a few.
Just a couple of times. Yeah,
that's right.
But yeah, there's a really strong lineup this year. A lot of really experienced players, and a really good support system around it as well. The coaching staff, I'm excited to work with to just get everyone going with that.
Well, yeah, because you're named as well, and you're going.
Not
as a player.
Not as a player.
But you're head coach, and head coach. And from my experience of when I played last year with the boys, you're the best coach in Australia.
In that I am the best water runner, which is basically what it comes down to on the day.
Incorrect, man. Incorrect. You're so good at that, and even speaking to the other boys, they wouldn't trade anyone to having you there in the spot. So you cemented yourself really well in there, and then maybe next year or whatever you can be playing. But even as a coach, man, you're killing it. So congratulations to
cheers, man.
Yeah, that's really good.
Well done, man.
The trick is to carry 2 waters in each hand and then balance one on top of the head.
And then a beer between the legs.
Exactly. Yeah.
I did not know you were coach. That's sick. I'm sorry. I should have done my research. That team of guys, man. It's like I've never gone, and I've been playing Warhammer, and I've played against those guys like in the last years and years and years, even back when Dean was running like his events at House of War and stuff. And I can tell you what, like, I never won, but like the amount of times that group of people have killed me, I can't even count. So that's sick. Yeah, nice, well done, man. A bunch of cool guys too. All those guys are sick. Yeah.
Well, thanks, and once more, congratulations, Lawrence, coming through the application process, essentially brand new too. Like I was one of the coaches last year and pulled through, but Lawrence came through and got picked directly. So well done.
I mean, you killed it, man. I mean, you had nothing lower than a 85 point scoring for all your 8 games at Uprising. Like, that's awesome. That's awesome. So it's well deserved, man. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sick.
So then we've got new news and stuff coming out from GW. Of course, got the World Ears release. You're really keen for it. Yeah. I'm glad that you're keen because I don't have to learn any of the rules.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's really fun. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as say it's hyper competitive. I think there are people in the interwebs that are saying it can be.
It's going to be really interesting in a teams format where you get to sort of have that matchup.
I think it's going to be auto-taken teams in some ways because, well, maybe not necessarily auto-take, but it'll be a strong suitor that a lot of teams may be taking it.
Yeah.
for two main reasons. One is that you can use it as just an uber strong sword to just mince. But then also you can play it in a way and you can build a list in a way that you can just score really well because the secondaries are
Secondaries are so just die and score points.
Broken. It's just straight
Sounds like
up
you,
broken.
you just play the game.
Yeah, well, not even. No, you just. I mean,
you lose the game and you
hang
score
out.
points.
the secondary I'm talking about is called Pile of Skulls, and basically you just burn blood tithe points for victory points, and it's just
so good.
You get blood tithe points so easily, and then even if you're in a clutch moment game, you just save those, and then you go, here's my 3 blood tithe points, here's my 6 victories.
Pretty lame.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
pretty like not lame, but crazy too. That you can just be like, I'll die on the objective and score too.
And score,
so,
yeah.
Like just like get there, do whatever.
So it definitely
Yeah,
can
it's,
be
like,
played
pretty wild,
around.
yeah.
It definitely can be played around, and by savvy players, for the entry and middle level players, I think it seems like it's really strong. But for your top tier players, they'll know how to work around it quite easily. And when you get to mid game, you've got half your stuff. Your points start to get mitigated quite heavily. However, it is super fun, and it's super fun. We were speaking to Dean at our club as well because I played a couple games with it, and Dean played a couple games. Because even when stuff's going bad, stuff's happening for you, so you get this real good interaction with the book or with the game in and of itself, regardless of whether you're just dying, and then it makes a good player experience.
And I would say like that's a really interesting way to look at it because you have armies like Necrons are a great example. I play Necrons mainly, or have in the past, and they score passively, right, and in it seems on the surface very similar to the way World Eaters do, where they just score for being around.
Yeah.
The difference being that Necrons score passively on the table. You don't need to do anything, and they just score points.
Yeah.
Whereas World like you do stuff, and stuff happens to you, and you're scoring. You're still playing the game.
Exactly.
Which is a better way to design that whole system. I don't
agree.
I love Necrons, but the way they score isn't interactive, and it's not a good gameplay experience if you extrapolate that out further.
For sure, yeah.
And a large thing about 40K, and the reason that I really like the 40K system, there's a couple things that I like about it and don't, but one of the things I really like was the whole secondary vibe.
Yeah.
Like I've had, or at least have every Warhammer 40K army. That's not a lie. I've had to get rid of a bunch, right? But I built Blood Angels one day, and I wasn't a Blood Angels guy. I've always been like a Dark Angels. White Scars were kind of like my love. I liked bikes, and they had the things and stuff. And I built Blood Angels one day because I built it strictly around the concept of the Relentless Assault secondary.
Yeah.
I really loved building an army, and I told people it was my football team. It was just trying to score touchdowns, right? I was just trying to score touchdowns. I had this meme for ages. It's gone now, like RIP, where I used to run just like the little Stormhawk or whatever it was.
The Storm Talon?
And I would just turn one like be there because it counted. Be like, well, kill this or I get 4 again. And so it was always, I called it my football team because I'd go score, touchdown, touchdown. So I love building armies around like a concept of this guys are going to go run out to the objective and fight on it, which I know is Warhammer, but like in general, like touch the buttons and dial and touch the buttons. That appeals to me so much that I have to stay away really bad because I'm like, don't do the thing. It's so appealing. I would love it. Like, don't tempt me. I might do white and blue. White and blue, bro.
No, you can't do the white.
I already got white and red.
White and blue would be good.
I got white and red already.
But you'll
white
have
and blue's
gold,
good.
though. White Scars ain't got no gold, bro.
Yeah, they do.
Depends how fancy the white scars are.
Sometimes the con's got all over them. All right, maybe I have to do it.
We need some white and
too.
blue World Eaters. Be mad at us.
And then I could do the blood.
Hey, and then you could be loyalist, and then I'll be traitor. That works perfect. Yeah.
All right, I'll do it. All right.
Right, but yes, the World is released with, of course, a gorgeous Angron model, which we'll get up on screen very quickly. Everyone's seen it now. We saw the better one by Gyro earlier.
Yeah.
So
such a sick model.
It's a sick model. He's got a sword that he basically just beat out of a demon, which is pretty funny.
It's so good on the table too. Like he's just awesome.
Yeah.
He's just awesome. It's cool. We're gonna have Angron on the channel soon, so
we'll flick through the other ones quickly as well. We've got the Corn Lord on Juggernaut, which is the Lord Invocatus, which is, they're like, it's a new model, but it's just a version of an old model.
Angry dude.
But it's cool. Juggernauts and 40k cool. Bloodbound, of course. Now, you've been painting these.
8 bound.
8 bound.
Yeah, I've been painting them. They're
eight bloodbound. There's some. Yeah, it's corn, skulls, blood.
They're cool size. They're cool models. They're pretty good. Their data sheet's pretty awesome.
They're like corn possessed, right? Like that's kind of the theme of what they are, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then the berserkers, which you mentioned earlier, look very good for 30k as well because they're not.
I love
super
these
chaotic.
so much. They make me so happy.
Yeah.
It's interesting because my main criticism of them when they were revealed was that they're too clean, but it works perfectly if you're doing this heresy midpoint.
Yeah.
They bridge that really nicely.
It's taking a lot to stay away.
Jackals, expensive cultists.
Yep. Expensive cultists.
Are they any good?
They're cool.
If they touch, they like each dude gets 3 attacks. You know, and it's like
what about
strength 4, neg 2 on egg 1 or whatever.
Like 4 tasty.
Yeah,
That's good.
They're not bad. But realistically, you're taking cultists for screening and then to die on objectives for your secondary stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So it is a little bit.
Can they do objectives and stuff and all that? Like, I know Death Guard cultists can't do certain things or something.
No,
like
so
that.
they can do it.
They can do whatever they want. Yeah. Well, Poxwalkers can't do actions, but not the same.
Yeah, no, they can still do everything.
They're cool.
Yeah.
And then the other one that we're all keen for
is
the new Heresy jet bikes, which are in plastic, which is a very dangerous amount of availability for them.
Sure is.
Yeah. I think these are going to... Games Workshop's going to do very well with this choice of model.
This is such a good kit to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's priced better rather than buying them individually and whatever.
Which is a nightmare.
And, the level of conversion...
they cost about the same as buying one from Forge World, right?
Yeah.
The box of 3.
Yeah, you used to, especially if you have the unfortunate condition of being a White Scars player. They've got normal jet bikes were expensive in resin from Forge World anyway, but we have the Scimitar, which is like a special jet bike.
Yeah.
And it's like one, I think, from Forge World is like $80 or $79 or something like that. So a squad of 3 of Golden Keshig, which ride them, is like insane. So people will be converting them and stuff like that, but I think that they'll do well. They got a nerf from first edition Heresy. There's a lot of talk about whether bikes are worth it in this edition because they went down from T5.
I mean, look at them.
Yeah, they're
cool,
gorgeous. Yeah,
like, obviously.
But I think altogether, people were going to buy these because they're some of the coolest models that Warhammer's ever made. People are going to use them in 40K.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They'll use them as all kinds of stuff. So,
but even so, like, just quickly on the rules thing, I think it depends on the legion.
Yeah,
I think some legions can take real good advantage of it because they are more durable, extra wounds, especially for, say, even World Eaters, for example. Being able to give those guys chain axes and like the main dude being able to have excoriated, like, it's just, it will depend on your legion whether or not you do well. I think Raven Guard would do probably pretty well with them as well.
I'm not going to complain because in Shogun Umbrella had White Scars, I can make them all line.
Oh,
yeah,
so every dude can score.
Yeah,
so you go, if you kill them anyway, I've got 10 more squads where this came from. Just put heavy bolters on them so they're not too expensive and go, here you go, deal with it.
Yep.
That's weakness. All multi, come on, all melter.
Give them all plasma cannons and watch them all gets hot.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah.
It's so much more punishing.
It is pain when someone hits you with a single melter shot and you lose like a 45-point model. You're like, because it doubles it out. You're like, pew. Like, but I mean, look, they are good. I think they're way underrated because people just were used to relying on the fact that they didn't die.
Well, it's also the same hit and run.
Easy.
And hit and run is, I think, in certain legions is really powerful.
Do they have the same rule as the land speeders where their shrouded saves are better?
No, shrouded, if they run, they get shrouded 5 or whatever.
Yeah, but as in, like, land speeders they've got a rule where you can reroll a failed shrouded save. Do jet bikes have that as well?
I don't think so, because basically, if they run, they get those rules added. So so for example, shroud is not listed in their sheet. It's only if they proc it.
So the lens is like if you take the evade reaction, gives them shrouded, and they get to reroll that.
Oh wow, that's really cool. Probably
they might do because I feel like they should, like they're in the same ballpark of things.
I know that I don't think they have it. I think they just have the if you run you get shrouded because the whole thing is you're only supposed to get cover, but it's basically what Jank used to be like.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, they get a 5. They get a 5 on.
Feel no pain. Shrouded is
on them. It'll be a feel no pain. Sorry, and won't be on vehicles. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But the cool thing is that it stacks. So for example, you have Angron in your list, and your whole army gets a 5. It gets a 6.
Shrouded then goes to a 4.
Pluses. So
if it's a feel no pain.
Sorry, in that that's incorrect. In that interaction, no. But in terms of Heart of the Legion, right? So when you take your feel no pain, if you're in cover as Heart of the Legion, it actually pluses to.
It does.
So you can have tax. And this is universal. This isn't just world eaters. So if you basically the Heart of the Legion rules and most of the Shrouded rules will say they will add. The feel no pain stack. Your vulnerable saves can, some won't.
Some will, some won't.
Will usually will stack on a unit. Feel no pain rule will stack with a army wide feel no pain, which is cool. You can leverage pretty well.
I did White Scars a lot because when I ran Sag Yarmazan, which is the other not fast White Scars, the whole army got a feel no pain, which is weird for White Scars. And you'd run tax out to an objective, and tax and heresy, the Heart of Legion, they get +1, so you'd have 4 of feel no pain.
Yeah,
just sit there like
tax are good in heresy.
Oh, they're so good. In heresy. Tax are so good.
Depending on the legion.
No, but even in World Eaters, like they'd still be good. Because you get Fury of the Legions, the other.
Fury,
they're better damage output.
I know exactly what Locky's going to say, and I agree with him too. The spoilers are very good.
So much better.
But I don't. I mean, yeah, squad attacks on an objective has hurt me so much. If
Yeah.
you try to shoot a squad attacks and charge them on an objective, you will die before you get there. They'll shoot you back, then they'll shoot you on the way in, and then they'll kill you in combat. It's like, and they won't die because they have a feel no pain. They're going to shoot you one more time.
Unless you
So
world
they shoot you
eaters,
30
and then you've got like a
times.
whole squad that's got like 55 attacks into them, and you're like, bye.
But how many
But you're
points are you
dead
paying
before
for
you get
that?
there.
No, the same cost.
So do spoilers with all the upgrades cost the same as
Nah,
skills
they
or
don't.
attacks?
No. So I'm saying tack. Tack for tack. Like, tack for tack is like...
But the whole point is, while they're on the objective standing still, they're shooting you three times a
shots each.
piece.
Yeah.
And you're shooting them once because you shot them with pistols. And then you run in and can't do anything. They shoot you a whole nother shooting phase again.
Yeah, but,
So they shoot you,
but you go in and kill them.
but you have one guy now that goes in.
You ain't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
one
yeah.
guy.
Because they killed you, bro.
No, every time you've done to me, I've just wiped your tag. It's not how
Why are
it
you
works.
like this to me? You're supposed to be my homie. Treat me
Not
like
how
this.
it works.
Let me be right on the fitness.
Certain legions, I'll agree.
Yeah, no, it's
But yeah, so anyway, we're keen for Heresy. We'll have to try that out like in a short or something. We'll try.
Yeah.
Try those running in.
Yeah. Do the numbers.
Yeah. All right. So the last bit of news that we'll bring up is the price hike that GW's putting in,
Yeah, God.
which I mean it's that time of year. It's about time for it. Like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, I've said this multiple times. I don't understand where their projection of their plan for the future is. Say Heresy specifically, right? You have a whole market that is directed around specific legions.
Yeah.
And we're going to release the things that define those legions in terms of the products, i.e. shoulder pads, chests, whatever, incrementally. So you're automatically, by that process, pushing people away from you into the 3D market.
Oh, I mean, very quickly on that, they just announced a bunch of Contemptor torsos, which look sick.
They look sick.
At least Sons of Horus
but
one
why
does.
not do every legion?
Yeah.
there's a bit of
Like, it's just-
anger around that too.
Yeah,
around the
people
Contemptor
are really,
torsos.
really pissed about that, which
Do you
I
know-
don't
Were they?
fully understand
What-
why.
what-
I must have missed that whole thing then.
The anger is that initially when what they're selling you right now as the upgrade is
Yeah.
just a torso.
Yeah.
In the past, they made all the rest of the stuff, so you would buy a dread from
Yeah,
that legion.
individual
Right, you buy,
So
you buy
there's-
a Sons of Horus Dread that has the torso and the shoulders
There's
And the guns.
legs, shoulders, everything was unique, and now
Yeah.
a lot of people were going like, "What happened to the rest of the stuff?" Because now we can just buy the.
Well, is it
body,
all
that's
taken
it.
off Forge World or is it still there?
I'm
still there.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not really
yeah.
familiar, but I think that the whole point of what they're trying to do is maybe not do that. Is that's why they're just selling you a torso now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
look,
hate it
I-
because
I-
I love
yeah.
I love a little bit of clean, and I love less like fully converted. Like I was never a big fan in Heresy of having like I saw like the White Scars shred, and there was just way too much on
much.
it.
Yeah,
There's something about Heresy that I liked where everybody was more like uniform and clean.
Yeah.
It was a uniformed army, so I that's why my armies always have a bit of a Terran influence to them. It's not
There's a weird dichotomy in Heresy where the Space Marines were more standard, but the Imperial Army was way more diverse, and it's
Yeah.
kind of flipped in by 40k.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that in of itself, I think you're always going to get people in butt hurt for whatever reason, right?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think from a business standpoint, when you go, you already know that you're losing part of your IP to things like 3D printing.
Yeah.
So change your process of how you release your stuff to try and mitigate that as best as possible.
Yeah.
Well, it's
So not only do you have a poor release in that regard, like let's give all the legions, or let's give full kits for every dread. Exactly like you're saying,
Yeah.
like it was on Forge, or just make them plastic kits, whatever. I mean, I don't know how the costing in terms of making the molds. It's probably a lot, whatever. But something to sort of reassure the audience that it's a bit more tasteful. But then on top of that, having a price increase, which is in certain areas of the world, which is already expensive, you're just pushing more people away from your product.
Well,
Like, it's just
interestingly, the last time
silly.
they had a price increase, they skipped Australia because aside from New Zealand, we've got the highest prices to the pound in the world.
Yeah,
So, like, as far as the conversion rate and then the increase,
yeah.
New Zealand's got it worse, but they deserve it. And then there's Australia.
Part of me.
The weird thing, sorry, Greg,
No, you're
the,
right.
the weird thing was as well is that I read some of the comments through the thread because I always do that every now and then. I see a controversial post, I'm like, ooh, let's read.
Let's
who's
doom
salty.
scroll. Let's go down those comments. Yeah.
And there was people that were like, what does it include? Like, does this include combat patrols? And like, no, it doesn't. So
Well,
they're-
actually, I
they're
had a quick
picking and
read. I had a quick
choosing.
read through that. It's anything that's like the intro stuff.
Yeah.
Your starter boxes, your combat patrols. I think even your upgrade sprues and things are excluded from the price hike.
Yeah.
But then it's all your essentially your main range, your core
So
boxes.
basically anything that's not pushed to fit. That's what I read by
But
that. more or
I
less.
mean, anything not pushed to fit or not packaged as a discount.
And then my
Yeah.
sort of qualm with that is, why? Like, if you're gonna, and again, you can actually find the information because if you go to their stock report thing and whatever,
They put like a quarterly report for all of
they
that.
have to state why
Because they're
these
publicly
increases
traded. They do all
there,
this stuff.
and,
Yeah,
exactly, because it's a public traded company. So you can deep dive it as much as you want, but even just from a PR point, it's like, how do you sell this? Like, how if we're gonna do this, how do we sell this and not push people to 3D printing?
I don't get I don't really understand. I mean, even me being in like the retail realm, I still don't understand a lot of it. I mean, they give the reasons, but every time they repackage an army or a codex comes out, they the models aren't available for a certain amount of time. We all know this. So like, when Guard came out, you couldn't get Lemon Russes for 5 months or something insane.
To be fair, they've packaged them all together now. You can get both the Demolisher and the regular kit,
which is
in
great.
the one thing, which they should have done from the start. But carry on, sorry.
That's okay. But even when they repackage things, like for instance, I'm almost positive that we have a Bane Blade. It's the same one. You could do every variant originally anyway.
You could, yeah.
And it's just gone up. They do this every time they release a new codex. I don't understand the concept of, at first you go, there's this great goodwill, like here you go, like we're telling you, by the way, we're being very transparent, we're raising all the prices, but you do it anyway. Yeah. I mean, my minds were blown when the first time that my brain exploded is when I bought a Storm Surge when it first came out.
Yeah.
And Imperial Knights had been out for ages. They were like, $160 for that. And then a Storm Surge came out with less plastic, and we won't go into why things cost more design or whatever, but then a Storm Surge was like $260, and we were like, what are you talking about? The Fire Dwarves came out for AOS. We're like, wow, this is a 10-man kit. It was the first time I'd ever seen that kit was $100.
Well, do you remember the start collecting for that had the Magmadroth in it?
Yeah.
For 140 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
The Magmadroth kit was 160.
Yeah.
On its own.
Well, the Flesh Cots was the same. Like the Terrorgeist or the Zombie Dragon, it was the $20 less than the whole box. You get all the other stuff.
Which makes it more baffling that that's the bit they're not raising prices
exactly.
on.
Well, I mean, the biggest meme ever is, I'm sure you guys might know this already, and I tell all the people it's a selling point when you come on my store, and if you want to come to my store and get it, here's a good deal for you, is that if you would know this very well, a box of Necron Warriors is what, $70, $69?
They are 73. Oh, no, 70 even.
I think at our store it's 69. It comes with 3 bases of
3
Scarabs,
Scarabs,
whatever.
10 Warriors.
When you buy the Recruit edition of the game, you get exactly that with an extra character and another Marine character and a squad of Assault Marines and a book and all this and that. $59. Yep. $59. Which is $10 less to get that plus everything else, and there's no real rhyme or reason. I think that the original way they said it was, we just messed up that when it went there, we're to keep it. We all know what a loss leader is. We all know how this works. Yeah. But this is a bit crazy to have that.
Something like that in particular, I take it umbrage with, and I'll have a spiel in a moment about it. But specifically that with the Necron Warriors, I'm annoyed by that because you get what you're going to get. We all know what's going on. We're in the hobby. We're like, this is what it is. You buy the Recruit Edition, and then you sell the Space Marines because who wants Space Marines? But little Timmy's going to come in. He's going to have gotten the Recruit Edition for Christmas or whatever, and he's going to go, I love the Necrons. I want another box of Necron Warriors. And he's going to go and go, cool, Necron Warriors. And he's going to pay $70 for them. Yeah. Because he doesn't know that you can go and get that. And that's where they're going to actually make money from that kit. Yeah. Is people that don't know any better. And
I gotta tell Timmy to buy this and have
exactly,
more, shove his room full of stuff. Yeah. I mean, also, I guess maybe from a marketing perspective is that that's a gateway drug too. Oh, did you like the Marines as well? You get for $10 less, you can get those too.
They have a justifiable campaign on how they do those, and it's kind of what you were saying earlier about like, well, we're going to front end it, lose it in the mid take or whatever, and then you're going to gain it back from the. It's the retention rate, right?
It just sounds so crazy to have these next to each other, and there's an obvious answer. Yeah. Why even make that box anymore?
Yeah, it's
why even make it $10 more for Necron Warriors? Just don't make them.
I mean, it's the same thing now. Like
they're not a multi-ball kit. It's
the same. They are a multi-ball kit.
I mean, but I'm saying that those 2 kits are exactly the same.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So it's even like with 3D scanning, right? Like before the 8-bound were released, you could get the exact quality print
of for legal reasons, Blood God Warriors, whatever they're called.
And you just go, and clearly this is obviously an issue for them, as it would be, for our company as well. Of course, you'd be like, this is IP theft and whatever. And, and we're not condoning that at all.
It's very clear. Like we don't condone people stealing IP sort of stuff.
There is a reality that exists. Now, if you're not going to alter your process and still not only charge the exorbitant amount that you do, and you can group in design, all that stuff, which is true, But then if you have no plan to rectify it moving down the line, it's going to bite them. Like, it's
Well,
I'll still
and-
say it.
And it's getting stronger. Like the 3D print
If
market
they
is
don't
getting
change
stronger.
their philosophy or their process,
it's going to come back and bite them.
Years, they will tank.
And this is the point where I come back to on it, because I've got a weird opinion on it when it comes to the actual prices of Warhammer. People are like, oh, it's too expensive. It's bad from raised prices. No, it's a business. It's a luxury product.
Yeah.
A kit of 10 Space Marines is worth whatever you're going to pay for 10 Space Marines.
Yeah.
Right. And if that's $100, it's $100. If you pay $200 for it, it's $200.
Yeah.
That's what that kit is worth.
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, it's not worth the money you're paying for it if you're still paying for it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day,
that's
like at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
it's not a commodity, right? So you can't value it against itself. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. It's like, all right, they can sell it for however much they need to, and to a certain extent, they should, right?
Yeah,
They're a
agreed.
company that needs to make money. They're publicly traded, so they need to make money for their stockholders and shareholders.
Yeah.
So they should be selling it for, whatever you can actually make for it, as much money as you can get out of every box you sell.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it is going to come back to bite them because there are alternatives.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they've had it's not people talk about them having a monopoly on the market. And they sort of do, and they sort of don't. They don't have they don't have a monopoly on Warhammer because they create Warhammer. You can't have a monopoly on something that you're the only thing that make it.
Yeah, your IP.
But they did for a while have a fairly strong hold on war games outside of historicals, war games in general, and any sort of tabletop.
From a miniature point.
I reckon they're closer to back to that.
Sorry,
I reckon they're closer to actually having it back.
They're definitely.
There was a small time. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There was a small time when X-Wing actually was beating Warhammer.
Well, even before that, when War Machine, just before P3 dropped, Privateer Press were in a great spot to actually come up and be the better G-dub.
Do you mean from a quality of model point of view?
From a sales and
popularity, I reckon.
But from a business perspective, like they were growing at a rate where they could catch up with G-dub.
Well, the argument of
and
monopoly.
Then P3 came out and they made some questionable decisions. They tanked it, but
the argument from the monopoly point, from what I've always understood it as, was more of a quality point of view. So the monopoly on the quality of miniatures they produce, not necessarily the amount of money they're making or whatever. And I'd still say that it's close to that.
And the point that I'm coming to is that it's less of a lead. Previously, they've had this big lead in front of everyone else, and it's getting less and less. Like you can get independent miniature ranges that are also just as detailed.
AK prints that are just better.
I think exactly, and you get things like that where they no longer enjoy that unattacked status. So if they're not going to adapt, as you're saying, sure, there's nothing wrong with them charging $300 for a character model, but it's not going to sell because people have alternatives, and they need to recognize that. And it's baffling that they're not taking a bunch of steps to
I mean, they might be. We don't know, right?
Yeah,
and the weird thing is always you always see this on the internet, and they always go, "Oh, vote with your wallet or whatever." Like, talk with your wallet.
Yeah.
Like, don't. And so that maybe 5 years ago, everyone would go, "Shut up! You're still going to buy it anyway." Like, whatever. But
you don't have to anymore.
When people are falling
But now,
off,
because of printing. Yeah, you can.
I think
because instead of buying $100 for 5 heavy assault intercessors, spending $100, you can spend $10 or $15.
There's even something crazier about that.
And sorry, go on.
There's even something crazier about that is that the you talk about the 3D printing and what you do. I think the issue comes down with, and like you were saying, like this is worth that. If this is worth that, that's what it is that you're going to pay for it. The problem comes where, to me, my realization was when I actually held something in my hand and you looked at something that was easily quantifiable. You went, I'm paying you $100 for 10.
You mean like the whole Surgeon Knight, the Surgeon Knight thing again?
Well, you're holding the 10 models in your hand. You're like, I'm giving you $100 for these. And you go, this guy here was $10, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a point where people go, when they cost $150 for 10 fire dwarves that big, they're going to go, this is not worth $15. No matter what people understand. I understand. We've talked about this ad nauseum in my shop a million times. You got to pay the design. Art is insane. Art deserves to be paid for.
Yes,
design,
absolutely.
blah, this and that. But
the
at
marketing,
some point,
the shipping, the logistics.
But at some point,
the problem is, I'll cut you off very quickly.
Yeah, that's okay.
Is that what are the chances that the artists are actually getting paid most of the money from the miniature?
And not only
it's
that,
not where it's going.
But the juxtaposition comes, like you said, with the 3D printing. Now they hold that same thing in their hand and go, I printed something. Maybe not. We know today, honestly, that Games Workshop does make the best miniatures in the world. They are that beautiful. You are paying for something. But when they get pretty close and they're holding those 10 guys in their hand and it costs them like $2,
Yeah.
$3, $5 from their local like
It's like,
resin
is-
dealer.
is-
They're going
is-
to go, what is the
yeah.
deal?
Is
Even if
that
it's
little?
9,
Is that little?
Even if it's 9 to the 10,
It
so
doesn't
even
make
if
any
it's,
sense.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
still better.
You
right?
went like
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
was, there was I'm going to play this game. And I could even lie because so many people can't tell the
You can't
difference.
tell. You can't.
And,
Yeah.
and so at some point, people are going to go, I cannot pay the 12, 15, how hard this is going to rise for this dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
You
It's
know?
dumb.
Yeah.
It's
And
dumb.
I suppose what we're coming back to is that we're sitting here on the outside of it, of course, looking at it and going, well, it seems like they're ignorant of it. I'm sure they know about it. Like there's no way they don't have people that are going, sitting at the company going, we need to deal with this problem.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you're there, like I'm there, I have to justify to Jimmy's mom why those guys cost $100 something dollars, and they go, "What are you talking about?" I go, "I know. First, you buy this box, and you have to spend $150 worth to get into the hobby. That's the hardest part. Oh, you have to buy 10 paints at $6 a piece. I know. Sorry, it costs more than the starter.
Yeah.
And you need a knife
Yeah.
and all that. And then they go, "What do we get next?" And you go, "Well, that starter costs you $59.
Yeah.
You have to
Buy
pay
this box of
$150 for this tank. It's your first tank. It's your first vehicle. You have to you should buy this." They don't understand why that costs as much as everything to get into the hobby, and it's like it's a loss leader. They don't understand that, and they don't want to hear it.
I think
Like,
I think
it's-
one of the other. I mean, we're
know.
not going to hop on too much more about this, but
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
one
yeah.
of the other big things that I guess especially the internet hasn't realized is that the audience has changed. So
Yeah.
I think when we were kids, when we were kids,
Yeah, when these guys were kids,
You're a
I
younger.
wasn't around.
but
That
when
was-
we were kids and we got into
Yeah.
Warhammer, it was kind of marketed at us, right? Coming out of the 80s into those 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old, 12-year-olds into early
because
adolescence.
second and third edition was like it was bright, it was colourful. They had TV ads for Hero Quest and
They're
stuff.
going back to that with eight. With eight
yes.
was all nergly cartoon.
Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah.
My point being is that the audience was around that D&D scene of their target audience.
young
was
nerds.
Young nerds,
Yeah.
right? Now, the target audience is no longer that. Their target audience now is like 25 to 50.
People with disposable income.
So for them,
You'd reckon, but they make Warhammer Adventures, which
So
is Goosebumps.
it's not
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they don't try and have a
Give it a crack.
contingency to have those
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
their main target audience, and we know this from our analytics,
yeah.
no one under the age of 21.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just
Yeah.
non-existent.
Well, it's too
Yeah.
complicated to put things together if you're a kid anyway.
Yeah.
And you-
And
Well,
the
yeah.
dice, and it makes you got to be a certain age.
I mean, you could toss it up to whatever, but I think that's probably where their justification is, where
Yeah.
they've realized that, hey, we don't actually need to care about Timmy and his mum or Greg and his store's ability to justify it
Oh, yeah,
because we know that our target audience
Yeah.
is still going to buy it.
Which is a shame because you want Timmy to be involved
course.
because you want the game to keep going.
Because that's your next 20 years, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, but-
Oh,
so-
and even for us on this side, look, we want little Timmy to be involved because for the next 20 years we're only playing with more people and new people. Like it's yeah.
And then
Yeah.
this is a reason where I think the 3D printing I think it's a bigger issue for them than what they're addressing. I
Yeah.
think it's a way bigger problem and it's much more extreme because of the fact that people will just revert to it. And,
Yeah.
and nowadays kids with everything with tech,
They're gonna be better at it than we are in like
13-year-old Timmy to be
Yeah.
like, hold on, I can buy a printer, a Saturn 5 or
Yeah.
whatever, and then print this stuff myself for free.
You get ads on Instagram,
Literally
man.
for
You can press
free.
the button.
Yeah, yeah.
Press the
Yeah.
button.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
It is, yeah. And like hopefully there's someone behind the scenes and they're actually doing something about it, but like it's hard to tell from this side.
And please know that I want them to succeed.
I'm saying, well,
Yeah.
So this is all born out of
This
Well,
sounds
okay,
negative,
look,
but we
and
want them to
something
succeed.
that I actually I want to iterate this a little bit as well because we are negative probably a bit more than we need to be on the channel.
It's the
sometimes.
Warhammer fans need in
Yeah,
life
yeah.
to be negative.
yeah. Well,
Have the salt,
yeah.
have the salt there.
So someone could hand us what's to say? Someone could hand you a wad of $100 bills and we complain about the way they're folded.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But all right, look, I do want to say something about that as well. Is that we're not being negative because we don't like the product, right? We love Warhammer. We love miniatures. We love playing
So
the game.
much.
Yeah.
And we want it to succeed and do well forever, essentially.
Yes.
Right? Because we want to keep playing. I want to be 80 years old and be able to be like, oh, I've still got my little toy soldiers here. I'm going to go down there and push
My
them around.
Necron Warriors, it cost me $70
yeah.
that now are like $4,000.
I
doing
remember,
this
I
job.
remember when this
Yeah.
character only cost $400.
Yeah, I'm doing this job because I love it. Because that's why I do what I
Exactly,
do
yeah.
because I want it to succeed and I
Yeah.
love it and it's what makes me happy. So that's
Yeah.
why we worry so much.
Exactly, yeah. And so we're not complaining because we don't want to play. We're complaining because we want it to do well. We want
Yeah.
these problems to be addressed and fixed
yeah.
because we want to be doing it for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And actually, look, it's a really interesting point. We'll move on to the next topic, but it leads into it really well. So we'll move that one on. Yep. Very nice, snazzy little queued up
It's new. I like
thing.
that.
Yeah, it's good. We tried to have it last week, didn't work, but
Yeah,
we've
okay.
got that working on. Nice little snazzy thing.
Yep.
But the main topic we want to talk about today was actually kind of the relationship that Games Workshop have with friendly local gaming stores like your own, and by extension, all of other companies as well. So obviously, you stock Games Workshop products. You got a relationship with them.
Yeah.
You stock loads of Wizards of the Coast, Magic cards, that kind of stuff. D&D. You'd have relations with the Pokemon company, Konami, Privateer Press, as now Fantasy Flight Games, which are now Asmodee, or as in they are owned by Asmodee, and you deal with the Asmodee sales tech.
Yeah, we deal with a wholesaler that then deals directly with them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But so what's it like dealing with them? Do you deal with them directly? Do you deal with someone in between? How does that work?
Yeah, it's
and of course, only what you can say. If there's stuff that you're not supposed to talk about, then
Yeah, sure. I don't think a lot of these are like industry secrets. So there's some things you can just talk about that in general, some companies work with like wholesalers themselves.
Yeah.
And then those people are the ones that interact with us and that create the relationship with us.
Yeah.
When it comes to in certain companies actually do deal straight with us. So for instance, Games Workshop themselves doesn't have a wholesaler. They work directly straight with us, and we have a rep who talks to us regularly.
Yeah.
And they'll give us updates, and we order from them and stuff like that.
Just on an aside, because we've had a bit of connection with the rep through Dice Arcade. Is it the same rep for all of Australia?
No,
like you'd talk to the same guy, or is it different?
No, don't quote me on this, but I think with Games Workshop they have multiple reps for like states and areas.
Okay, yeah.
So
sense.
It's state, and then you have the one that handles all of them.
One,
still only like 5 people.
Yeah.
I mean, Australia's small, state-wise, the amount of states, but when it comes to they don't need that many.
No.
But
makes sense.
So we deal straight with them, and when it comes to supporting the game and stuff, you talk to the rep, and they let you know what they can do to help you support the game and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
When it comes to other games, believe it or not, there's a supplier. There's a few suppliers in Australia that do the different card games and board games and stuff.
Okay.
Like for instance, things like Marvel, Crisis Protocol, and Legion and stuff are handled by the wholesaler. A lot of people would know that Let's Play Games is the name of one of the wholesalers we use. VR Distribution is another one. They're pretty well known throughout the country, and they work with a lot of different people.
So do they work on behalf of the manufacturing company? Or are they just
Well, like I said, I don't really know how much, how the whole process works, but I would probably venture to say that they buy, a certain amount and get it imported from those manufacturers. Yeah, and then they go to them. But a great thing that those companies do is that they do interact with us. So, for instance, for Let's Play Games, they now have an organized play director that organizes all of their events and stuff like that. Shout out Scott. He'll talk to me and go hey, I do this for this game, this for this game, this for this game. What do you need? And he'll say the people that make these games talk to me and tell me how they want me to run your games.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And that's supporting them. When it comes, it's different buying from them. I have a different rep that I buy from each of these suppliers. But some companies do have that person who deals with organized play, and he'll go, I can give you this. So for certain card games and stuff, he gives me the prizes that were allotted to them for us.
But that's also because a lot of those companies handle their sort of events firsthand, rather than say when you roll a Games Workshop or a Warhammer event, it's not really sanctioned or controlled. By
because even
right?
they're trying to now with their GTs and stuff. They're trying to be more involved.
Kind of, but that's very specific, and even their world the World Warhammer Championships. It's all done through Mike Brandt runs that, and he's the guy that you talk to about the qualifying events and stuff. Yeah. But he then delegates that out to different reps working through BCP and stuff.
Yeah,
and then they sort out stuff there, and it's not at all controlled as to what it is. If you we were doing a bunch of stuff talking to them about that. But if you're a qualifying event for any of that, you don't need to. They make you sign a bunch of stuff going. We're not. Games Workshop's not affiliated with this. You're not affiliated with them. They're not responsible for this, and you got to do all that kind of stuff. They're very, very distant, very separated, very much.
Yeah.
You do your thing, and then maybe if we've allocated some prize support for your country, and you can get that out of the guy who's repping it.
Which is
really different from Magic, right?
Well, yeah. Well, just a side one on 40K. On Warhammer. What's really interesting is that Games Workshop does make organized play kits for their games.
Yeah,
and it's very similar to what you get from other companies for their games. Like, excuse me, you can buy a kit from them that's like, excuse me, oh. I tell you what, man. I tell you what. You can buy a kit from them that's like here's a trophy, like certificates. I think like last edition I remember seeing them where it was like here's special secondary cards, here's stickers, here's like stuff, bracelets and coins and stuff.
I saw a bunch of Kill Team come through when the Kill Team released. I've got a bunch somewhere. You've got a stack of Kill Team cards from when that released from the G-Dub in one of the G-Dubs in the city. And
you can buy them, and they go, here you go, run them. The interesting thing is that after you get into running events and stuff and running organized play, you can instantly see why they don't get involved. Because that takes not that much work, I'm assuming. Yeah. But to then organize all that is like, you guys organize events. You guys organize a ton of events. It's a different realm to interact with a bunch of people. Yeah. If they go, here's some prizes you figured out, so they can go, we do support honest play, but to do the rest of it, that's why, they had Frontline doing it forever for the first time. Like, it's just like to go and contract it out. And, like I said, Let's Play's got their own guy now, but like for these suppliers to do that, it is in a whole nother realm of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why they want us to do it, the stores.
Well, it's enough. Like we're running 19 events this year, and it's like running all of that that's just us. Yeah. If they were to try and run those and run the ones that Rackon are doing and run the ones down Geelong and do all of that, it'd be nuts. Yeah.
But then you just scale it back and go, you can't run a ranked event without our say, and then they'd go, all right, well we're only going to allow 10 events to be run in Australia,
which is kind of what they're doing with the qualifier events for the World Warhammer Championships. World Warhammer Championships.
Yeah, which is cool. English. I think that's awesome. So I'm really pumped for that.
If you wanted to talk about Magic, the way that Magic goes is that They sorry, that was like a weird segue.
Yeah, no.
I realized I'd cut you off and been like, let's talk about Warhammer again for an ages.
No, because I know that their system is very, very structured, right?
Yeah,
their competitive game system and their events is super structured.
And a lot of card games are like that.
Wizards supply an app, which I'll pull up here, a Magic Companion app, that all of the TOs and event organizers for Wizards can use. And that if I wanted to join any Magic event here, I can basically look it up.
But the TOs have to be sanctioned by the
I would assume so.
Or the designer.
Yeah, it's called event link.
Because I've seen some of your events on that Wizards of the Coast make Magic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've seen some of your events on the locator thing for that app.
So to start is that for a long time Wizards was like Games Workshop. They actually had an office in Australia. They had an office in all their countries, and they would go like, they handle this now. I don't know if it's the same with other countries, but here now they a few years ago went like, sorry, we're actually not going to be here anymore. They shut down their office here.
I heard about that a little while ago.
Was that like GFC time, like 07?
I feel like it was later than that, but don't quote me.
Somewhere in the back of my head's going 2014-ish, but
I feel like it was later.
Might have been
that.
After that, yeah.
One way or another,
it happened.
Yeah,
at some point.
And they went.
Turns out it was 1983.
Yeah, and you guys will be able to see when this happened because it coincided with the Pro Tour dying stuff, which was like right before COVID and stuff like that.
No, so that was very recent.
Yeah,
the Pro Tour
it was probably a little bit before that, to be honest, because
2018 or something, I think.
But either way, they then went like, hey, like we're gonna let all the suppliers in Australia do it, which is nice because like less centralized and more people could get their get a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And then so there's more choices for us to buy things from. But long story short, they said these people can do the organized play. So even though they run their organized play still, they've given it to a company to run. And the rest of their like stuff now is pretty actually simple. They send the prizes straight to us, to the stores. The supplier doesn't even see the prizes.
Right.
They send them straight to us, but the supplier has to give them info on how much we sell and stuff. Like when you see that app, it tells them how many people come to our store, and then that's that's why it's important actually to support your local store.
Yeah,
I mean on another note, because they don't understand that if you support your local store, you buy from there and you sign in and you pay for events. That's what allows us to get more prizes to just give to you.
Because you can turn around and tell Wizards or the supplier and go, oh look, I had 30 people at this event here.
Correct.
And here are the registrations and here are the placings. You can see they were there. Yeah. And they spent this much money on the event.
So we do Commander now on Wednesdays and Fridays at my store.
I need to get in for that sometime. I'm keen for it.
Don't worry, I'll get you in. And the whole point is that when people come in, usually you use that to sign up for like tournaments. Like it'll actually do pairings and stuff.
Yes,
it's actually quite a good system.
I went to a pre-release recently with it, and it was confusing to get into because I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
But then they're like, put all this in here, and it just handled it all. Handled
clean.
match scores. It was everything. It was great.
Ultra clean, right? There's points where I don't have to press anything except start a new round if everybody
Yeah.
uses their apps and stuff. But when we do Commander, it's non-competitive, but it's still a sanctioned event. So we do a player list, and people used to come in and complain and go, "Why am I signing into this when it's no thing?" Well, in my store, I give out promo packs twice during the night randomly to people at tables. I roll dice.
Locky's making a run for it.
Yeah, and
Too much card talk.
Yeah, and when I do that, it's I tell them, look, you got to sign in, and I have to fight with them to sign in over and over again and put their name on the list, because what they don't understand is at the end of the night when I end that event, that goes to WotC, which is the coast, and they go, well, how many people were at your event? They're going to give me prizes to what they believe is worth what I need to run it. And so if I only have 6 people sign in and not 24 like there is there, they think I only have a 6-person store.
And they're like, well, why are we going to bother supporting that?
Yeah, and so it's super important, when people go, oh, support your local store. Of course, we want to make money and we want to do this and that, but what they don't understand is that the reason you're signing in, the reason you're supporting your store and going to their events and stuff like that, and this is a lot of games, it's not just WotC, not just Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro stuff, is because a lot of times other stores see that metric.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to the One Piece game that we started running, which is extremely popular, impossible to get right now. I get promos.
Because they can see that people attending.
They have a system called TCG Plus, and it's the same deal. They go, well, you're only this type of store, so we'll give you this many packs for your stuff. Well, if people don't sign in and don't come, they're going to think I don't need it. And that's kind of how that relationship works in general, at least with certain stuff.
But I mean, even that seems like it's quite a good system for it.
It's easy too.
It means that you're not then trying to convince them that you got all that. Welcome back. I'm back. You're not trying to convince them of that. You've just got you can show me. It's here, and they'll just handle it.
Yeah.
I know it's something that we come back to every now and again, that Games Workshop could essentially roll in BCP and Battlescribe and their app
the same time that they do their digital rules updates, not
exactly.
buy a book and put it in there.
Yeah,
which we're waiting for.
If they rolled all that in, it'd do the same thing. It'd sort all of that. You'd be able to keep track of attendance at tournaments, where tournaments are happening, what people are taking at them, what models are selling, what aren't, what people are using.
The analytics they'd get from it would be
it would be incredible,
insane. And it'd be able to shift so much in terms of what they want to do.
That's the same time they'll do their STL system.
Where
you can print the model for a whole week and then it burns the file.
Once the building's already burning and they're putting the fires out, then they'll decide to.
Okay, we're sorry.
So is like Crisis and that similar to? Because I know we were harping on a little bit about cards in terms of that structure.
Yeah.
So are the other miniature games kind of similar in terms of the support stuff, like that structure? Is that another same? Like, I know, because I know Crisis is the thing at the moment, right? Like everyone's frothing that.
Goes pretty good.
Even globally, it just seems to be really
Marvel
popular.
Crisis Protocol is pretty cool.
Yeah, Marvel. We have a event at the end of every month at iStore, and in general, in my store, I can only fit 8 tables, so I can do 16 tables. Or I think actually lately I've been doing 12, so I can do 6 games. So I do 12 people, but I mean at Frankston we can do way more, and we do a bit, at least in my store. But with them, that's another one that comes from the supplier. So for instance, I will talk to the guy that handles organized play at that supplier, and they'll hand out. They don't hand out actually. I think depending on, sometimes we have to buy them, sometimes we don't. But they'll go, you are allowed to have this. It is similar but slightly different. Yeah, okay. It's not controlled by Atomic Mass, who makes that, which is FFG, which is also I think we were saying it's Asmodee at this point. But
Asmodee bought them and it changed a bunch of stuff around.
I believe that was the case.
Yeah.
Don't quote me. Pretty much we get OP kits from them. From the supplier, so a lot of times that is the middleman, between the companies. It's rare to have direct from the company.
Well, look, it's really interesting to look behind the scenes. I'm looking at our clock and going, we're sort of reaching that endpoint of the show. Before we go anywhere, we'll just
too long about other stuff.
Well, it was interesting, and I in fact I think I'd love to have Greg back at some point, and we can do an episode talking about, I guess, the financials behind Warhammer and stuff, but also the financials behind cards and the economy of cards.
Yes.
Because that's...
So I'm totally into that now.
Well, all right. So Locky, just before we go anywhere, today Locky was opening some Silver Tempest packs from Pokemon and getting nuts about that.
Silver Tempest. Greg was so dirty.
I made a mistake. I sold him some Pokemon cards. I'm sorry, guys.
So
This is a Pokemon channel now. We're done with Warhammer.
It's
It's all Pokemon. It's gonna be Pikachu up there now.
No. So you sold me a box of boosters,
Mm-hmm.
and like I bought a bunch as well there when I was there. And I got Snickle Fritz, right? I got nothing.
He walked in. He was like, "Come on, man.
I was like,
Come on, man. Give me a couple
some,
more,
give me
man. What's
some.
going on, bro?"
And I got nothing.
Yeah.
And then today I opened half of it,
Yep.
and bang, got the Lugia alt design. So the Lugia VMAX, whatever alt design.
Yep. The
Alt art or whatever.
alt art.
Basically, it's the Lugia like flying over a sailor or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, what's this? I put it in the TGS player app. It's like, yeah, the most valuable card in the whole set. And I was like,
And you can now trade that for a Warhammer army.
But no, you can trade that for a box of 10 models.
Yeah, nowadays.
yeah,
that's right,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then so now it's just like the.
It
I
gets
mean,
to
I
you.
know it's not gambling, but
it's
it's kind
kinda
of
gambling, yeah.
Like, what am I gonna get? What am I gonna get?
But that's the fun of it. You
It
know?
is.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
is.
thing. So
Yeah.
I was legit G'd
Just
for
know when to
like
stop.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I was, from the moment
do
I
that and
opened
you're like,
it to when I
oh,
got
that's
here.
it. Like my day's peaked.
I was
Like
this is
it's
so
good.
Yeah.
But the problem is then like I've still got another like 15 packs open. I'm like, I just want to open more.
Yeah.
And I know the rest will have nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing
There'll
else
be
there.
nothing
That's it.
else
That's
in
it.
But I think
But,
from those 12 packs or whatever I opened, I think there was seven full art ultra rare cards.
Oh,
Yeah.
So like did pretty well.
Yeah.
Sold in the wrong box, Greg.
Yeah.
But that should have been
No,
the story.
I was meant to
you'll
keep,
taint
hey.
it. You'll taint it. You can't.
Yeah, that's the one I was meant to.
Hey, I'm getting it right, like
Yeah,
with the magic
oh, was
stuff.
it
You'll be
actually?
right.
That's
Yeah.
the one.
No,
I was just saying, just for myself, not for the store, but for myself to make sure that I. Anyway,
Yeah.
And you sold it to
you're
me.
getting
You're a
nothing
legend.
ever again.
Thanks, bro.
Thank
No.
you.
We've
Good
lined
design.
up a carton now of Scarlet, whatever what's it called?
He
It's
wants a
new
case. Yeah.
a case of the new set. What is it? Scarlet.
Well, it'll be the block will be what Violet, Scarlet and
Scarlet,
Violet. Or what is
Violet.
it? Yeah.
But based
And,
off the new games and stuff.
Yeah.
it's
Also,
coming
is
out
that
there.
how they do it?
Well,
It's
they
purely
when-
reflective of the game.
No, not purely, but when the new games come out, they do a couple of sets that are based on those and feature
Oh,
out.
Yeah,
cool.
they'll
There
do
actually
like
are some
10
cool
sets
Pokemon in
based on
so,
that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, mad.
But yeah, well, I think we'll probably wrap that one up there. We'll also turn over to Lawrence very quickly. Was there any audience chat? We did mention it at the top, but we do have a segment right at the end where we answer any questions or
We
comments
are
from the
iterating this
audience.
process, everyone. So
Every-
we're trying to
yeah.
find a cycle that works.
Well, look,
so.
this week we had snazzy little transitions, and then and next week we might remember to announce that the audience can ask questions at the start.
Yeah, we should definitely.
A couple of questions.
Yeah. What do we got, Lawrence?
I have two questions here. First one.
Yeah.
Are you wearing the same shirt again?
I'm wearing this shirt specifically for you, Tomo.
So yeah.
I went back to where I bought them, and I bought more, and this is the shirt you're going to see from now on.
So I don't know if anyone actually heard the question because
Sorry.
Lawrence isn't Mike.
Yeah,
so-
sorry. So Tomo is
Yeah.
so I'm assuming it was Tomo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tomo the other day in one of our streams called me out on wearing I think the same shirt. I think I wore it. Like,
Every game.
I think I wore it like twice.
Apparently, I don't
It's
know.
pretty new. I think I wore it like twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Tomo was like, "Oh, you're wearing the same shirt."
Yeah.
And so now I am. This is a different physical shirt to the one I was wearing the other day,
Okay.
but it is the same design, same shirt. Just for you, Tomo.
Okay. Next question from Jared.
Yep.
Where are your shoes?
Oh,
yeah.
So the question was, where are your shoes?
Yeah.
And I think this is gonna be the new standard. So
I was wearing shoes when I came in. They
Yeah,
didn't
they're
have
behind the
shoes
couch.
on. I felt like it was a thing, so I took mine off.
I mean, I
can't-
try and wear shoes as least as possible.
Yeah. So do I. I'm just when
Did
I'm-
you
Australian.
feel
when I'm-
awkward now?
Australians, do you hear this accent? I don't do this kind of thing. We wear shoes in civilized parts of the
You
world.
mean in
but
Baltimore?
anymore-
In Baltimore,
Well,
civilized?
yeah.
this would be weirder if we left our thongs on. Like,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
like it'd be weirder to look at.
Yeah. it would be strange.
But yeah,
So I think that's going to be the new
Yeah.
norm, guys.
Yep.
And girls and everybody else. It's
enjoy it. It's good.
All right. A serious question from
Yep.
Ben Staffordson.
Ben
You have any
Staffordson?
comments, if you can, about this Alchemist Workshop in UK, saying that the new GW robotic warehouse are causing the stuff delays, lack of consistency, and etc.
I mean, okay, I've seen this around. I've seen this around. So the question coming in was about there's a I don't know how confirmed it is, but there was talk coming in front of the Alchemist Warehouse was the company saying it. That GW has recently switched their storage and distribution design to a robotic packed warehouse, similar to what Amazon use, and that's largely responsible for all the shipping delays and things.
I would highly disagree.
I think it's unlikely that that's the proximate cause.
If humans aren't involved,
it tends to be more efficient. that said, I could believe that there are some teething issues with it if they get moving over to it.
Yeah.
So I could see that it might be causing some of them, but we've been having these issues since the middle of COVID. I suspect that's probably where it started, and something's gone wrong in the system then. Yeah. Something's dropped out of it, and they haven't quite recovered.
Unfortunately, especially for here in Australia, a lot of the issues come once it's here or getting here. Yeah. Right? Like so.
During COVID, there were I think it was the Sylvaneth release for Age of Sigmar that was they had it all in a container that was coming over, and it sat in Singapore for 3 months.
Was that the Death Guard stuff as well? Right?
And it would have been about
Blight Lords and Death Shroud,
and it was like, we know where it is. It's in this container on this ship in Singapore. And that's the Australian shipment.
Yeah. All I know is that if they're asking us to pay more money for this stuff,
be better on time.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a two-way street, right? Yeah, if you want to go up, be on time. It's not my space to decide or figure out why you're not on time, but we'll pay you more like you want and get it to me when you say you will.
That's kind of that's just early levels of business, right?
Yeah, worth more than the entire English fishing industry. Remember when they're supposed to get the bailout? We can. You make more money than the fishermen. If you can do that, you can get us this stuff on time.
Yeah.
So.
And it calls to the integrity of the product. So
of course,
All right. Question, some more.
Yep. Now you're chatting. All right, we've got a couple of minutes. Let's go.
Specifically to Greg.
Oh, God.
Coming from Carl, he needs to know how you rate their iced coffee against other milk products.
All right, so listen, check this out.
So the question was, how does Greg rate Dare Iced Coffee compared to other milk products?
So, when I first came to Australia, I was having what's the other one?
Icebreak.
No, I don't mess with Icebreak. I don't mess with
Farmers Union.
What's the ones comes in the cartons?
Farmers Union. Farmers Union iced coffee comes in the carton.
So does Big M. So does Oak.
Oak, that's the one. And I used to have Oak when I was with my homie in Sydney.
Great ads though.
The ads are great. Yeah.
About 11 to 12, more than that, 16 years ago, I'm losing my mind. I lived in Sydney for about 3 months.
Sorry, man.
And our apartment was just stacked with old Oak things. Because there's just two dudes living in this apartment. It was gross. Yeah. To this day, I'll never drink Oak ever again. Yeah. And I chugged one of these one day. And I was like, good God. So anyway, to answer your question, Dare is the best. There's a few little indie ones that are so good, but Dare is the best. You got to get the double espresso, especially if you need that hit like me. It's the best. So thank you, Carl. You're a man of culture, and I appreciate you.
No one asked for it, but if you're down in Melbourne, you can also get Great Ocean Road one, which is pretty good too.
Yeah. There's 67.5 grams of sugar in 250 mils of this. Just
not enough.
You can get no sugar ones that don't have any in it.
Yeah, but who's going to drink that?
Yeah. I mean, all the time.
Oh, really? Okay.
At work, it's good.
Yeah. Last
question. All right.
Quick one for each of you. What do you think of the 10th edition? Just brief expectation. Will it happen or not?
I'll go last. I'll go last.
Well, hold on. Just need to clarify the question. So, are we talking about the rumors that have come out?
Yes, the rumors.
All right. So, the specific rumors about 10th. So, the question was each individual our thoughts about the rumors of 10th edition. Yep. Just the quick caveat with the 10th edition rumors, if you aren't aware of, is the removal of toughness values on infantry units and potentially mitigating the entire process. So all you would do was roll to hit and then it would go straight to save. Also, rumors indicate that there is no changes to how AP works and how armor saves work. And then the things that will get toughness will be things like certain vehicles and like heavy infantry like Terminators and Dreadnoughts, etc.
Yep.
So that's the kind of just caveat of all that. So
I'll go last. I got thoughts.
I'll try to be fast on mine. I will attempt to.
The design principle, I like it, to make the game faster and all those kinds of things. However, to mitigate there's two things. A lot of people love the whole. People always will backlash against things that they're not used to, right?
Change is always backlashed against.
Yeah, so people have been used to rolling heaps of dice, and the current system they're used to. That's fine. I'm all for it. However, if you're going to remove something like the toughness value, which is a mitigator towards the end goal, i.e., killing something, the resolution point, i.e., AP and save, has to be adjusted.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the entire system falls to pieces because the core system's already there. It's a core mechanic of the game of shoot, wound, save, right? So if you're going to remove one of those, something else has to enable the game to feel fine. I just think that it might work in principle. It will definitely speed up the game. Tick.
Yep.
I think you'll get very bad feels if it is the way it is in the rumors. And I think you'll just get a even bigger disparity between armies and rules and stuff. But overall, I'm for that change. A big design changes like that, I'm all for, because the game does need a huge redesign in general.
Okay, so I think that everything that I've heard about the rumors, I really, really like. I think that well, slightly different than you, I actually really like all of it. One issue that Warhammer has right now is that D6s cannot be granular enough. You can't make a Terminator as a little bit more tougher than a normal Marine as you should, or a lot more tougher compared to other things without that. I think that by taking it so that you just roll to wound on infantry and stuff like that, and then giving another roll in toughness to other stuff, that's like being able to use D10s or something, which is what they should do to be able to have a better system. So I think they've found actually what sounds like a really nice and clean way to make these things tougher, one. The other rumors I've heard is that terrain will matter more, and it'll be more character heavy and more about these things. That's a lot of like what earlier Warhammer was about. That's good. I hope they don't change the terrain rules that much, because the clean terrain rules, I think that stepping in and stepping out in the bases is one of the best things they've ever done. They have some of the best terrain rules in the game. It's very simple. If you're not in it, you can't see them, period. Amazing, right? So if they do that, that's great. I think all of that is awesome. I think the only thing we need to do, and I'm not sure if they do it, is they just need to add some sort of reaction system like Heresy has,
and remove stratagems.
And stratagems will be gone, but I think it'd be I think that they need to do something like that and allow us to play on their turn. But all the rumors I've heard so far, I'm a big fan of Primaris Terminators, Primaris jump pack guys, the Lion. How long have we waited? I'm a Dark Angels fanatic, so I love it.
I'm actually going to come up.
Before you answer that, Dalton, last question also, I'll just give it to you from Ben. So what would you change if you were writing the 10th edition? So just add that to your answer.
As in change from the rumors or change from what's currently there? All right.
I think we're going to have the same answer for that question.
Reactions.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to check out how those work in 40k, check out our Tempest Tuesday live stream. So we add them into fun Tempest of War games, and you guys can all participate.
And it works, and it's not broken.
It does. It's real good.
Really well.
Check those out. They're good fun. I'm keen to play them one day.
So just to reiterate, that was Ben's question as well. So
thank you, Ben. Regarding 10th edition, very quickly, I'm not going to go too far into it. If these rumors are confirmed, does come out with that, I'm actually going to have a podcast, and I'm going to sit here with a sheet of paper and explain a bunch of the maths behind it, because it's fascinating. But also, I'm going to come around to what Greg's saying. I agree with you. D6s aren't granular enough, but you've got the opposite idea about what makes it more granular. If you're taking away an interaction between different statistics that generates a different probability on them, you're actually reducing granularity. What you would want to do is actually have to make them more granular, introduce more sets of rolls, which obviously you don't want to do.
I thought that's what they were doing, though. So you
but
roll
they're
less.
removing the toughness roll or the toughness comparative.
I'm assuming that what they'll do. Then sorry, I'm going to cut you off. The only thing that I'm assuming is that since 7th and they've gone to 8th, they've added wounds as a bigger thing. I'm assuming there'll be less of a roll, but more wounds. So you just take it away. Gotcha. And so they'll have more wounds, but more rolls against toughness.
The rumor is they're taking away the toughness characteristic or the interaction between toughness characteristics.
Yeah, on infantry.
So your sequence would be you roll to hit, and then they just roll a save.
Yeah, which I'm fine with if that guy has like
6
each Marine has like 10 wounds, and then the Terminator will be the same thing, but he's got a toughness 10 wounds.
But the problem is
they want to speed the whole market.
But the problem as well with that,
speed the game up.
The 2 points are, one, it won't speed the game up, and the second point, so it won't speed the game up, so they're not going to do it. But the second point is that if you want more granularity, you need to introduce more complexity into the interaction between different things.
And I don't want that, to be honest, but I think they need to find a way to even it out. That's how to balance it.
So what I would say is, very quickly, you can streamline a process or you can simplify it, but they're not the same thing. This is simplifying and streamlining, but you could streamline without simplifying it. And they have done that to a certain degree. The 8th and 9th edition toughness chart is way simpler than the 7th previous one. It's just either it's your equal, your higher, your double. That's it.
And the terrain they simplify with terrain, right?
Terrain I'm all on board with. That's fine. If you can just adjust the way the terrain is to just make it better, 100%.
That is one of the rumors there. I forgot to mention
that I'm on board with. The toughness thing, I'll do a whole spiel about it if it comes out. But essentially, complexity is not a bad thing. I don't think the fact people have to learn the way toughness works is the thing that's turning them off 40k. I think there's plenty of other things that you could have a gripe with. This isn't the way to get more people into the game. This is the way to simplify a game to the point where it no longer runs properly.
I think that on top of that...
Very quickly, one last thing. Having a different thing for vehicles and big stuff and infantry, I'm all for.
Yeah.
Because I seem to remember there was a time in Warhammer where there was a difference between the way vehicles felt and infantry felt. And I love that Terminators are being included with that. I want Terminators and Dreadnoughts to feel like one thing, and then vehicles to feel like something else, and then infantry to feel like something else. Almost like Heresy.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, who knows? The rumors that
so that concept I'm on board with.
might have been the first iteration of the playtest stuff that's actually now being.
It could have been,
so
yeah.
At a core concept, I think it's overall really good. It's just how they execute that, which has been a lot of Ninth in general. You know, we've had books across the themes that go, this is great in principle, and then it kind of just goes all over the place with the next 3 or next whatever. So at a core, a big paradigm shift to some aspects of how the game work, whether it's simplifying, streamlining, more going, whatever, I think is needed.
Streamlining I'm on board with. Simplifying I think is unnecessary.
Yeah. And just reactions. They just need reactions. Because
reactions are good.
Such a
They're
great
fun.
interaction.
I think by introducing something like reactions, and we've talked about this before, is that you can sort of move away from the I go you go situation without having to rewrite Warhammer into an alternate activation game, which I've said before they shouldn't do, because then you're just playing a different game.
I think Heresy, if you had, I know we have to finish, but if you had current Warhammer with reactions, it'd just be an insanely good game.
That's what we do.
Yep. Come down on Tuesday.
We'll have
you on for that.
It's really fun. It's really fun.
But thank you for all the questions. That took longer than we were expecting, but thank you all for interacting. We'll allow more time for that next week or next fortnight. Thank you all for watching. Thank you guys for joining us. I want to give a huge thanks to all of our sponsors and all of our patrons, Miniature Scenery, Dice Arcade, and of course, General Games. Go check them out if you're in the southeast suburbs or the north suburbs if you're in Churnside.
All Australia.
Frankston, Churnside, Malvern, and the website. Check it out.
Yeah, good stuff.
Check it out.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit us up on Patreon and Discord down below. Check out all our events and things. All will be through our socials and our Discord, all that kind of stuff. Anything else?
Tuesday, Tempest stream. Tomorrow, Tempest stream. World Eaters versus Harlequins. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
So
it's going to be sweet.
We have World Eaters again on Thursday versus Iron Hands, which is going to be our Arx of Vermin competitive game.
Featuring Dean Sinbeck, blog for the Blood God.
Yeah, someone's going to play World Eaters.
Very competitive World Eater player.
A lot better than me. So.
Yep.
But yeah, be sure
gorgeous
to tune
person,
in for those.
gorgeous man.
It's going to be... Thank you, man.
I was talking about Dean.
Oh, okay. Whenever anyone says gorgeous man, I just think...
And you too.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
See ya.